Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode of the My Love of Golf podcast. Thanks for joining us. As always, really do appreciate you listening, liking, sharing, subscribing, and all the wonderful things that you do for us to try and help this podcast get into the ears of as many people in Australia and around the world as possibly can. Thank you for your response to our giveaway. That's been very exciting to see. The sharing of the information, the subscribing to the YouTube channel, and a few comments. It's been really nice, and thank you for your support. We've got another week of that to go. I think we'll confirm with the competition master. That's Magic Mike Carita, who's sitting on the other end of this line, waiting to come on. Let's get those guys in, and a special guest this week, all the way from the Asian Tour. Yes, that's right, a special guest from the Asian Tour. We'll reveal who that is in a second. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the other side. Gentlemen, how are we? Firstly, we'll go to the man that's up there in where all the action is, and that's in Brisbane. It's Rocket. We've caught up with Rocket off air, and pleasingly, we know that Rocket and his family are all fine and dry, but many of the people around Rocket aren't. It's quite tough to see that on the news. Queensland, our friends in Ballina, the old Salty crew are in Ballina. I caught up with old Salty the other day. Once again, he's fine, fortunately, but telling me stories about all his surfing mates out in the jet skis, heading out to Lismore and then up to Mullumbimby, rescuing people off roofs and stuff like that. So if you are affected up there in northern New South Wales and Queensland by the floods, our thoughts are with you. There's not much we can do from here, but other than give you those thoughts and hope that you're safe, hope that the recovery that you go through is a swift one and as painless as possible, albeit it will be very painful for you and your families that have been affected. But we are thinking of you, Rocket. I'm glad that you are okay. So on an uplifting note, well, it's only time that we can do one thing. That music always brings a smile to anyone's face, as does Rocket's T-shirt that he. This is the beauty of the community of the My Love of Golf community, reaching out to each other and supporting each other. Now, as you know, before I talk to the guys, you can hear him chuckling in the background. If you're watching it on the YouTube channel, you would have already have cottoned onto the humour or the laugh. The good community that exists, and in this case, Matt Molliker, who you've heard us refer to many times. Rocket still is the reigning champion of the Rollback Alliance Golf Day at Kingston Heath.
Looking forward to defending this year.
Mr. Molliker was quite taken aback by Rocket's blocking by Phil Mickelson and sent him a present. And Rocket stood up there, stand up again and show the other boys. So what we've got there is Phil Mickelson's Twitter handle and saying that Phil Mickelson has blocked you. So
Yep. So Matt knows how much I love Lefty, and when I found out that Phil had blocked me, and this is the actual screenshot that I'd posted. Matt's taken it, and the beautiful man made a T-shirt for me in celebration of it.
So the efforts of Rocket being blocked by Phil Mickelson, one of his heroes, as you just said, is immortalised in the T-shirt. The beauty of the internet, that you can get anything printed on a T-shirt, have it dispatched to someone in Brisbane within 24 hours and immortalise a moment. So Matt Molliker, once again, hats off and shout out and thank you to you.
And Alan Shipnuck and Jeff Shackelford absolutely lost it when they saw that. They I think they've messaged him and go, "Can we get one?"
We should be in the merch business. Our guest that we're about to bring on is in the merch business for his own podcast and online ventures. We haven't really followed. We give too much away. Stickers is about as far as we've gotten, the occasional T-shirt or maybe a hoodie. Maybe the merch business might have to wait for a bit longer, but that might be the lead item, the Rocket I've Been Blocked T-shirt.
Yeah, I think so.
Magic Mike, it was good to see you on Monday night for special projects. How are you?
Excellent, thanks, mate. Yeah, it was great. It was great coming into Drummond and having a hit on the sim. Hadn't used it before. I was very, very bad at putting on it, but other than that, it was good.
Now, we've been working on Little Skunkworks special projects. Do you want to enlighten the Rocket Man what we're working on in his absence? He can't, because obviously he can't join us. He's in Brisbane.
It's a
trial, testing.
Trial, yeah. There's something coming that we're working through. I'll take Rocket through it off air. So it's Secret Squirrel projects at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be available in another week or so.
Yeah. Well, actually, it doesn't matter. It won't translate. But I don't have the memory card that we recorded everything on, because it's with Flanagan Jr., who rang me on the way home saying, "Oh, I need a camera and a memory card." So I had to hand off the camera and the memory card to him. Anyway, we recorded something. A special guest, all the way from Thailand, where this week's he'll tell us exactly what it is. The Asian Tour event that's in at Hua Hin at Black Mountain this week is Blakey. You know him as Golf Rules Questions. I know him as Blakey, David Blake, the guru of the Golf Rules. How are you, Blakey?
Yeah, good, Roscoe. Coming to you from Hua Hin, Thailand, or I'm up here for the International Series Thailand. That's the official name.
So you've been recalled to the rules aficionado team up there. You must have performed admirably well at the Saudi International, where we last, well, I caught up with you and we played the interview, but you got recalled. So back promoted. What's the story? How does that work?
Yeah, so the Asian Tour are looking to diversify. Obviously, I've been working on my trade for a fair while now, and just really love running golf tournaments and getting involved in the rules. So, yeah, I've been working with the Asian Tour. This is my second event this year. But you know, I know a lot of the guys from working with them previously. Be it the Fiji International, that was co-sanctioned at one stage, some of the other bigger tournaments that I've been at. And yeah, it's basically just relationships that I've had with them, and they're looking to get younger people into as you do in most businesses, you know, keep the new crop coming through. But with the Asian Tour going international through the backing of the PIF, it helps to have people from many walks of life. It's quite funny. I am the native English speaker, but I wouldn't say I was the best at English. I would just say that I am the only one that only knows English and has no other language skills. Was at unilingual, so everyone else seems to speak 2 or 3 languages up here, which is great to see.
Who's the most experienced referee that's on the team up there?
Yeah, so our tournament director he's passed the reins over this week to one of his underlings as the chief referee, but the most experienced is Jidisak Tempasak, and he was the chief ref at the Saudi, and going forward he'll most likely be chief ref at most of the international series events. You know, he's worked at the Masters, worked at Opens around the world, and been on the Asian Tour for a fair while. So knows all the players, has that kind of relationship, which is really important. You know, it really counts for a lot when you know the players and they trust you and they are happy with how you work.
Have you got to know any of the players that are, you know, more Asian-based Asian Tour players? You know the Australian guys pretty well, or most of them. You've had some interaction with them through your work at the WGC or at Wentworth or on the Australian Tour events. Have you got to know some of the Asian Tour players or Asian-based Tour players better?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly right. The Australian players probably know them better through Vic Open and TPS events than Wentworth. But the Asian-based players, I haven't got to know them as such. But you know, when we walk past them, when we're driving past them, always say hello. And you know, the more events you do, the more I become just a recognizable face. You give a ruling, you put them on the clock. They realize that you're here for business purposes. But if it's a smile and a friendly face, they're more likely to recognize that you're just there to help them. The main thing is protect the field.
Well, I know your aspirations, but, because we've got the ear now, thanks to Rocket being blocked by, one of the biggest controversial figures and continues to be a controversial figure in golf and in Phil Mickelson, because he has put Rocket on the map, now our reach goes to people like Alan Shipnuck and, far and wide. If you're pitching for the PGA Tour or the DP World Tour, is that your aspirations? Are we going to see you more in this form, sitting here internationally, guesting in, dropping in some information from various tours, or we're just going to be sitting back in Australia making podcasts and Instagram stuff? Not just, you know what I mean, but is this what you want to do? Is this PGA Tour? Are we going to be at the Masters, like your colleague who you're going to sidle up to and say, can you get me to the Masters, mate?
Yeah, I mean, that's, as you said, that's the aspirations. If I had my way, I'd love to be on the PGA Tour, the European Tour. We've been in touch, we've been talking, but it's on the other side of the world. And as I get older, you sort of want to stay closer to your parents and closer to your friends and family. Whereas the PGA Tour is probably just one flight across the Pacific Ocean. But at the same time, this is an amazing opportunity for me too, working for the Asian Tour and their events that they're pitching. And if that combined with working for the Australasian or the PGA Tour of Australasia, I can't count that out, because then I get to stay in and around the Australasian region as well, which is, my home. My family is here as well. So there's lots to think about. If the PGA Tour turned up and said, we've got a seat at the table for you. Now, I definitely think about it. Whereas 5 years ago, I'd say yes, automatically. Now it's an ambition, but at the same time, how does that change the rest of my life? So this is a great opportunity with the Asian Tour, and wherever that money is coming from, we all like to throw, Phil obviously has said some comments to Fire Pit Collective, and that's got him in hot water with everyone. But at the same time, there's no such thing as bad publicity. But, it's easy to just say, oh, that Saudi money is bad and don't take that and blah, blah, blah. I have no thoughts like that at all, really, because to me, all money is dirty from every country. So it doesn't matter who you're dealing with. They've all done something bad in the past.
Interesting. So then what's been, you're the closest that we've spoken to that's basically been on the ground at, now a couple of events that are part of the Asian Tour. What are the murmurings, over there amongst your colleagues and amongst the players around the growth of the Asian Tour? What are they saying, seeing, feeling, hearing? What's the vibe?
Yeah, well, we're just trying to run awesome golf tournaments that people want to come and play at. We're trying to add extra stuff for the players every week so that they want to turn up. The same sort of aim, goal, method was something that the Vic Open was trying to build itself on. The players championship type thing, where the players are the focus, where the players are there and we make them as comfortable as possible. That's what the international series is all about, where the players want to come and play for the tour. So it's just about making the best golf tournaments that we can. Whatever happens, wherever that money is coming from, we leave that to the upper echelons. But at the end of the day, we just want the Asian Tour to be the best that it can be on the resources that it has. So
what you're saying is the players need a place to play and they've got a job to do. So it's being created for them and maintained by the Asian Tour, and you've got a job to do. You're happy to go up there and I think the PGA Tour was a little bit instrumental in helping you get up there. So, which is great. Okay, you feel free to chime into all of the other chat that we'll have. You know, I'm sure Rocket's got some takes on what he's just heard from you, and Magic as well. But you know, I might lead off by just recounting last week. We recorded on Wednesday night last week. On Friday morning, last Friday, I was down at the Royal Melbourne where we had played the front nine of the West Course, part of the Pro-Am for the Athena Challenge, which was held over the weekend. So that's a unique concept. If you watch that on Foxtel or KO, you know exactly what it is, the skills challenge. We talked about it briefly. So I got a late minute opportunity to go down there and play it with Grace Kim. And I'd never met Grace before, but the interactions I'd had with Grace were basically through the camera lens. You know, Blakey, you know me, and you guys know that I've become a little bit more interested in photography and, you know, spend a bit of money on a lens and that sort of stuff, which is great, all interesting. At the Latrobe event, I took the camera down there, and the first I ever saw of Grace Kim, or got to know of Grace Kim, she walked past, and I was over sitting in the trees in the shade because it was really hot. She saw the camera and me pointing the camera at her and a caddy, and she just looked straight at the camera. She put 2 thumbs up and waved at the camera, and we were like, I was like 40 meters away, but she saw this big long lens pointing at her, and she just gave me this wave. And I thought, that's a great way to treat someone who she didn't know. And, you know, maybe she thought I was a photographer or not, I don't know. But she could see that I wasn't quite ready for her to do that and take that photo. And I put the camera down and put it back up. So I had to have a second go, of which she kept watching and did a pose again, once again, from the middle of the fairway with me with the long lens. I thought, wow, that's a pretty intuitive young golfer who knows, you know, what she has to do when the cameras are on her. And my appreciation for her and her intuitiveness around that at such a young age grew at that moment. Now, I didn't know that I was going to be paired with her, but I was on Friday, and so we had 9 holes together. I told her that story at the end, and she said, oh, yeah, that's just what I do. Yeah, that's great. I said, fantastic, keep that up. And then I said, by the way, I've got some more important news to tell you. You know, there's a bit of history here with Pro-Am players.
I was about to say, did you explain to her the history of players that do happen to grace themselves with the and touch the vibe of the Roscoe and the essence that it is?
I might be getting a bit too big for my boots, but I did go with it. I wasn't going to. I was just going to wait for it to happen, but I thought, no, I'm going to lead with this, and I'll tell her. And she just laughed it off. I obviously, like saying you fool. I said, but you know, here's the run sheet. You know, there's proof of concept there. Well, you didn't think that I wasn't jumping out of my skin come Sunday when she made it to the final 2 with another young golfer that we talked about a long time ago, before anyone in Australian golf was talking about Kirsten Rodgers. Well, Grace and Kirsten fought it out to the end. And they had to go down to like a 5-putt off to determine the 2 winners. And Grace finished second, unfortunately. But, you know, it's a placing amongst the quality field. And anyway, that's a long way of saying that the mojo, the M-Log mojo exists. You 3 guys are part of that. But
she got the money, didn't she? Grace is
yeah, because she's
still AM, so
professional, and Kirsten's AM.
You can accept that as a win.
Hey, if there were world ranking points,
I don't know if there was.
She's got the biscuits.
I don't know if there was. I didn't look too much, but I just know that I was.
Call it the net purse championship.
Yeah.
There probably wasn't. There probably wasn't official points on offer, because official points, I think, needs to be at least 36 holes of stroke play.
Yeah, well, definitely wasn't that. But to the winner, more importantly, more relevant, to the winner, Kirsten Rodgers. Wow, we've said this before. Every time, you know, Kirsten Rodgers turned up and we've seen her play, she is just an impressive young female golfer. She will go places with the quality of golf that she's capable of. And, you know, you remember, boys, when she won the Helen Home in Scotland, and then she won the English stroke play, or English Amateur Championship, one of the two. So it was, I think, the Helen Holmes, the Scottish stroke play, and then the English Amateur as a match play final. When there was a weekend where, like, Australian won every event, and everyone else got spoken about except for her. by the official podcast, but we talked about it. We caught it because it was in Scotland. It stuck out to me, the hell and home. And we've been following Kirsten Rodgers' journey since then. And she is a fantastic young golfer. It doesn't say too much, very quiet. She's still very young, but wow, she can play golf. And it was, as disappointed I was for Grace not to carry the M-Log mojo through to the first place. As you say, Mike, she got a little bit of first place in the professional ranks, whatever. But Kirsten Rodgers, congratulations to you. Ports, well done to you. It's an interesting format to have to commentate on. And obviously, there were 8 on the Saturday, they do 8 shots, and they've got to, we were talking to Cassie Porter, Jamie Glazier and I yesterday, and they were saying they play 8 shots and it takes about 4 hours, and they've got to do these skills challenges between breaks. And so it was a bit of an interesting thing for them. But anyway, well done to you, Ports, for commentating that so well. Anyway, just thought it was interesting to congratulate Kirsten Rodgers and Grace Kim, who I had the pleasure of her company, and a fine young golfer. And best of luck to those guys up at the TPS up at Bonnie Doon, where it's actually absolutely a slogfest of pouring rain, unfortunately.
I've met Grace. She won the gold medal at the 2018 Youth Olympics in Buenos Aires. She's great. You could just tell that she was going to go somewhere, just with a positive attitude, friendly. Yeah, really nice young girl. So always, whenever I see her playing golf, always hoping the best for her. So yeah, great girl.
Well, great ambassador. She had a laugh. I gave her a laugh on the second hole, Mike. I shared this with you the other day. Mike and I are going to have a meeting, another clandestine. No, it's not clandestine, but another meeting on Sunday at Royal Melbourne Westlinks. Mike joined me on the simulator, and the last time I played Royal Melbourne West was on the simulator. We played the first. We got to the second. Now, anyone that knows one of the variations of the composite course knows that the second on the composite is the par 5, which plays on the west as the 4th, up over the hill, bunkers in the middle. I got to the tee, said, okay, guys, ready golf? I'm ready to go. I'll go. I looked at the bunkers up the 4th hole. I'll remind you, I was playing the second. I thought they look a bit close. Okay, haven't been here for a while. I best just hit it. I hit it straight down the 4th. And Grace Kim looks at me and goes, where are you going? I went, well, she said, the second's down there. I went, oh dear. I said, I'm used to playing this on the simulator. So I hit my ball down the 4th, not the second. I felt like an absolute fool. But anyway.
The longest drive hole?
Well, it was the tour format. No, it wasn't the longest drive format. There was no long drives, unfortunately. I would have won otherwise. But no, it was a tour format. So we got to choose someone else's drive, and then I knocked it on to the par 5 and 2. Anyway.
Aren't there trees in the way between the tee and the...
No, you can see it. Admittedly,
aren't you going down 17 East, 17th of the East course?
Straight across it, sort of thing. I didn't even look at the green, and then I was going. I just looked at the bunkers. I thought, there's something not quite right here, but I've called the playroom ready, so I better hurry up. And I went whack, and it was probably one of the equal stupidest things I've done on a golf course. I don't know what the stupidest is, but anyway, that was equal. Anyway, embarrassing.
Wow.
Oh, wasn't that, we'll take a picture of it when Mike and I are down there on Sunday again for you, Blakey, and send it up to you while you're, calling penalties for, breaches of water crossings or something. We'll be out playing the West. We'll send you a picture.
Oh. Yeah, please do. Is that in the blind golf championship or?
Come on, that's a PC podcast here. Rocket, anything from you on the Asian tour? Any questions for Blakey?
No.
Oh, okay.
I've got one.
Okay.
Without notice.
Well, none of this is with notice because none of you guys knew that Blakey was joining us. So everything's without notice tonight.
Yeah, so it's gone according to script.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Blakey, with all these rules, people being from all different parts of the world, are there many variations in the same rules? Like, do you see someone call something and be like, "Ooh, I wouldn't have kind of interpreted something that should be black and white like that," or is it all pretty normal?
It's a great question, because you might find that in the same city that you live in, that rules people will have a different interpretation. So knowing that some of the rules are quite subjective, when you get up to that higher echelon of just more experience and more of these people, a lot of these people are around RNA and USGA rules personnel a lot more than anyone else. So they'll always be there, and they'll ask the question, what would you do here? What would you do here? So when you get up to the higher, you actually will find that everyone, the margin of error or the margin of difference is very minimal.
Yeah.
You're more likely to find a higher margin of difference just in your own city, like, between Mount Derrimut and Crimeburn, it's going to be, the difference, the subjectiveness of what free relief from a GUR area is, will be bigger than what you'll find at tournaments like these.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Mike, you might have to just either turn your microphone up or do something with it, turn it on, maybe. That usually helps. Just to
turn it on. Oh, that's a bit harsh.
He's got form.
I'll while he's doing that, so I know what Blakey said about Asian Tour, but if you walk back over the things that I've said over multiples, I never actually. Everyone knows the whole thing about Saudi. My biggest issue, and when I've been pretty clear about this, is one, the shark, and two, probably Phil, and then elements of Bryson and the others when they talk about they're growing the game and all the other subterfuge that they go through. And that's the thing I take bigger issue with, because it's just gobbledygook. They're just... And Phil, right? As I said before, everyone knows how much I love Phil. But what he was doing and what he was talking about was complete rubbish. So I wear this block T-shirt with pride, knowing that I still maintain my standards of there's true growing the game, and there's doing the right thing, and there's just trying to fill your pockets and fill your boots. And that's exactly what he was trying to do. That's really where the main issues are. Talk about the Asian Tour. The Asian Tour has been underfunded for many, many years. And I think I talked about it last week, the whole issue, a lot of this wouldn't actually exist if the PGA Tour had done some of the things they should have done while Tiger was at its peak.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I'll leave it at that.
It was interesting. We had a little bit of a ad hoc rant about growing the game, but not that I listen to many other golf. Not that I listen to too many other golf podcasts, if any at all. But there was one that I listened to, and I can't remember which one it was. But they had quite a similar take on the growing the game concept, and there was a little bit of a different take, but they talked about that as a concept and how it gets used or misused. Just sort of as we did as it came out. So interesting.
It's a throwaway line.
Yeah.
It's a throwaway line to just sort of it's just a mask, the actual truth. And
when you say growing the game, are you saying growing the game as in getting more people playing or more people watching the game on TV?
They never say.
What do you want? What do you think that would be good for golf? Knowing, you'd know more about US, American, sports, businesses.
So there's two parts to it. So growing the game is in two parts, and it's we'll call it the bodies that run the tours, and then there's the grassroots underneath. So then it's the governing bodies that probably own sort of the amateur part of the game. And when you think about it, amateur part of the game is 90% of it, 95% of it. That's where most of the people are. And then you've got the top echelon of people. And it's two parts. The growing the game always should start at the grassroots. So what are you trying to do to make golf affordable? accessible and enjoyable, right? So you do all of those things. How do you bring people along on the journey and encourage that? Then that's incumbent on the governing bodies, even down to the local level. It's even incumbent on the tours and things like that. You look at what Jeff Ogilvy's doing with the whole the Players Series. He's mixing in men, women, and amateurs and juniors, right? So he's creating a little ecosystem that has got so much buzz that there are people coming out, or they've got some tournament players coming out free to watch them. So they might inspire one or two people to take it up or go a bit further. Then you flip it all the way to the top, and then this is the tours, and this is around how do you make it watchable for more than just the nuts, like the fanatics that we all are. Because golf is not something that you can consume in 2 hours, and it can be long, and it's over multiple days. And sometimes what's broadcast and things like that can actually be quite painful. Are they showing enough shots, or they're just showing lots of just garbage? And are we getting to know more about all the insights? And that might appease the golf nuts like ourselves if you're getting to hear the player caddy talking about certain shots and things like that. But there's a little bit of the behind the scenes, which is really important to growing the game. And that's why the Netflix, whatever's going to come out of the Netflix side of it, I actually think that's growing the game, because that series will attract people to golf in a different way. So that's what kind of needs to happen, because if I look at a telecast and a broadcast, it's kind of the same. Nothing has really changed in 20-something years, except for the definition of what's being broadcast and the length of it. That's about it. I wish you would put more players on the clock. The rounds are too long. The rounds should be faster, so that means the tournament can be a little bit more sort of compressed. I don't want to see Patrick Cantlay wiggling his toes like they're frozen for 45 seconds while he's standing over a putt. Like, we could have shown 3 shots in that time. So all of those sort of things. That's the growing the game, is how do you go outside of that band of people which are your core group? How do you go into that next group? Because at the moment you're extracting everything you can from just this one band.
And you found that with Tiger, he went outside, he brought in other groups of people, and so that wasn't used as effectively as it could have been. No, if you think about Tiger, right? So all of a sudden, if you go back and look at all the money lists for the 10 years prior, and you think about what the Shark was making when he won the money list in 96 and 94, I think he won it in 95 as well. But you see that money, and then you see like the 5 years post Tiger, and it was crazy, right? So all of a sudden you've got, he was always going to play like a small window of events, and it was just like, everyone saw the ratings and everything that went with that, and the money came with it, right? The money just followed. It was like just as Tiger played, or it's like you're trying to get him to events, and it followed. And I feel like the PGA Tour, they wasted an opportunity to capitalize on a once in a generation talent and person that brought people in the gates that would never normally watch golf. Like people that legitimately wanted to go see this person who was just is out of this world, right? Because some of the things that he would do on the golf course were literally out of this world. And they had like this 10-year window, and they could have leveraged that to go, right, how do we invest in these other areas and create a different ecosystem? We talked about it the other week. They could have created even if they took half of the idea of the Sharks World Tour and gone into these different regions and played it outside of, here's my US window,
because one of the things that a lot of the pros complain about now is they don't want to play that many events. They don't want to play for 52 weeks of the year. So how do you create these little, almost like little series? And if someone doesn't want to play in the summer series, so to speak, that might be running through Asia and Australia, then don't play. But you're going to get a lot of these other ones that might have been from Europe and stuff like that, because the events, the money could be good. The events might carry some other weight, because it could be winning this gets you into the Masters and all these other things. So if you have enough things attached to it, then all of a sudden you have these bigger events in these different courses, which also then on TV get different time zones. So all of a sudden a different set of people are watching it. Because in the US, if you're just going Saturday, Sunday, and especially through the summer, you're right up against the NFL. And the boys on this call know how much golf I watch from September through to January. And it's sweet. It's 5/8 of sweet FA, because I'm an NFL nut. And NFL's the biggest sport in America, that you're not going to get eyeballs on a weekend. So how do you do things differently? How do you get different areas and different time zones? Like imagine playing through Japan and Australia, some of these courses, like the President's Cup, like that rated its absolute balls off over in the US because of the time zone it was in. All right, they could have done something. They could have had their PGA Tour world domination, and worked with all these other tours and created a really amazing ecosystem off the back of Tiger. If they got Tiger to play in some of these different events, because he ended up playing in them. How many? He played Dunlop Phoenix in Japan 4 times. I think he won it 3. He's played in Australia. He would have probably played more times in Australia if they had some sort of tour event like that. But it was wasted. And I call it, maybe it's not just the PGA Tour, but was it incumbent on all the other tours to have worked together to create something bigger, like more of the co-sanctioned stuff? Like, it frustrates me that the Australian Open doesn't actually, the only thing it gives you now is a start in the Open. You used to be able to win the Order of Merit even on the Australian Tour and get a start in the Masters. It doesn't even get you a Coke and a sausage McMuffin down in the Goldie.
I saw that they added the US Open start to the money leader the other day.
Oh,
yeah,
see,
that was.
But you think if you add all these other tours together, all of a sudden, the PGA Tour still becomes probably the most dominant. But the thing is, they now have more. Here's the other thing: they could have generated more revenue, more eyeballs, because they're tapping into these other countries and they get different sponsors into all these other ones. But it's so centric. They still could have maintained this. We'll call it their majority of their tour, but it used to only be like 40 events for the whole year. Now they're running 52 weeks of the year with opposite field events. It's insanity.
Now that they're working with the DP World Tour, do you think they can still do it, or do you think they've lost it because they haven't got that big draw card like Tiger?
It's going to be harder. Like them working with the European Tour is more of, it's been driven out of necessity, out of a necessity to protect whatever they're doing, not an actual need to grow the game. It's still I still feel it's a knee-jerk reaction to what is happening with the Public Investment Fund and the Asian Tour.
Because I mean, if you asked anyone on the PGA Tour if they'd done enough, if they were happy with where they were or where they are, I'm sure they'd say they are, because
of course they are, because
they're massive.
they can be
they're saying they could have done more.
Well, the thing is though, here's the thing: is that the PGA Tour is still a player-run league, right? There is a reason a lot of the courses are set up the way they are. Boston Golf Club had a centerline bunker filled in because Justin Thomas didn't like it, because he had to play around it. Like, what does that tell you? Why the greens the way they are? Why courses set up the way they are? When you see someone like Tiger get his hands on what used to be the LA Open, and he gets his control on how he wants the course set up firm and fast. We've got to see a great tournament off the back of that. Everyone wants to see more of that, but a lot of those pros don't want that. The interview from Rory when he talks about the tail end of the year when the courses are set up pretty much the same every week. He goes, it's really good because it's a bit of a grind and I don't have to really think too much. All right, so it's and here's the thing: the players are just doing what they do. They're looking after all their own crew. They're making sure they've got a good living. You can be 100th on tour and keep your card and make good bank. I'm not begrudging them that. They can still make good bank if they want. But the thing is, as a collective, and we'll call it trying to do the right thing for the game and growing the game. And if the PGA Tour wants to have, if they really want to talk about they're trying to grow the game, they got to do other things besides the people that just turn up at tournaments. And they missed the window. They missed the window. And they've lost, and with that, they lost control of the tour because as more money came and it made it easier, then there's more voices, etc., and more empowerment. So
it's like you see in business, when things go well for certain businesses, they sit back and they have this opportunity, this growth,
Kodak,
growth through
Nokia,
things that are outside their
IBM
direct doing. They sit back and go, wow, we're all great. This is as a result of our hard work. And then
Blockbuster.
When it's gone,
Pizza Hut,
it's gone. And they go, well, what happened there? And that's sort of how I see what happened in that Tiger era and coming out of that. I'm not probably qualified, but, Rocket, you're pretty more director at it. But that's probably what happened. They had this great thing and probably too many people sat around saying, we're doing a great job here, so let's just take advantage of what we got. But they weren't really doing anything different. It was all Tiger. Speaking of Tiger, well, Mike, what's the tips for this weekend?
Oh, diving into the Dudley. Giddy up.
Actually, Mike, before you chat, are you doing tips for the Thailand series as well? Or are you just going to Yarni Palmy?
We can go anywhere you like.
Do you want to do the tips now? Or do you want to talk about last week's event?
Well, it's up to you. We'll start.
We'll talk about last week's event.
All right. Last week's event was the Honda.
It's the first one that I bombed out on. I'm a bit mortified.
Oh, sorry. The tips from last week. Yeah, the tips from last week. Yeah, you guys didn't make a Zach. So you both picked two players. Player each did not make the cut. The winner for the week was PMAC here, Daniel Berger, who vomited all over himself on Sunday and gave up a 5-shot lead. I think it was 5 shots. It was a tough watch. But yeah, PMAC 2022 had him. So he was the winner for the week. I'm assuming it's he, could be a she.
I think it's Paul McLean. Good day to Paul McLean, one of the key men at Bushnell globally.
It is. So great Paul brand. Was a winner. Yeah. He's a winner for the week. I had Keith Mitchell at a solid 9th. He could not get through 15 through 17 without rinsing at least 2 balls of golf balls per day. So he was never going to win. But at least it got me some money, which is good. The winner for the event was Sep Stracker. So Sep Stracker was probably the one who looked bulletproof down the stretch after Berger was just playing horrendous golf. Shane Lowry was in it for a very, very long way. It looked like for a bit there it might be a 4-man playoff. And Sep Stracker teed off on 18, and as soon as his ball hit the middle of the fairway a long way down, the clouds opened up. He hit into 18 and was happy enough to have an easy 2-putt birdie, and everyone else behind him had to play in torrential rain, which was good.
Or stand there and try and waste time and hope that the rain would disappear, and then be basically told by the official, you better get your skates on, Cocko.
Well, there was one point where that's Kurt Kitayama. There was one point there where there was a massive, thunder that came out, and he jumped. And he mouthed, because you didn't have the audio on him, a very obscene word. So I think he was just under the assumption they're going to call this. There's no way we're going to keep playing. But with the way the daylight is at this time of year in Florida, I think they thought, well, we've got about one guy back on the tee, and then there's you that needs to hit into 18, and this is going to take half an hour, and we need to get it done. Otherwise, we're all coming back tomorrow.
Just keep your club head low on the follow through, and you won't get struck.
That's interesting if there was thunder, because if there's thunder, is basically lightning.
Yeah.
I'm not a meteorologist, but so correct me if I'm wrong. But if there's thunder and there's most likely lightning, and if there's lightning,
Yeah.
the player can walk in. I saw
really?
lightning. Yeah, the rule 5.7. If you see lightning, you can walk in.
Yeah, right.
And,
I was shocked. I was even just looking at the rain, I was shocked that they were still playing.
So rain doesn't mean there's a suspension of play unless it makes the greens so wet that you can't putt. But if you see lightning, there's a danger. You can just walk in. You can say, no, I'm not going back out. And they'll have, we have it here. We have weather cockpit or UbiMet, tells you that when there's a buzz, when there's a few lightning strikes. There was a fair few in Melbourne about 3 weeks ago. I think there was 150,000 within a minute. So, or half an hour, whatever it was. But so he if he heard thunder, he could have, could have
helped himself out. We actually
would that
needed
be called
shot
the
in.
Trevino rule then?
The Trevino rule.
Would that be called the Trevino rule?
I haven't heard that one.
Well, Trevino got hit by lightning.
I thought you were going to say because he was the one who said if you ever want to
Lee
be.
Trevino legitimately got hit by lightning on a golf course.
I know
Retief
Goosen got done twice.
Yeah. Retief Goosen's been hit. I didn't know about Lee Trevino.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say because his famous saying was if you want to be safe, hold up a one iron because not even God can hit a one iron.
He said, not even God can hit a one iron. Yeah, exactly.
But, so that's, I didn't see that, but just from a rules point of view.
Yeah, wow. No, well, he hit a good enough shot in. He got away with it, but Lowry claimed that he was robbed post tournament because he said he couldn't take the same line. So,
sorry, can I just ask a question? Talking about golf balls being rinsed over that stretch, were you surprised how many golf balls were put into the water by these guys?
Just short of 300 for the week. Yes.
It just seemed to be that every group was just hitting a golf ball in the water. Like
some of the shots they hit, look, don't get me wrong, they're a little bit better than I am, but just on and on. Either they're not judging the wind or they're just getting bad advice or they can't feel it on the tee and they're hitting these balls out, 5-10 meters over the water and trying to peel them back in and they're just not going anywhere. They're not just missing. They're like, way out into the lake.
Like what part of Pro School 101, says hit a big ropey draw at 20 meters over the water and bring it back to.
And it's funny because like the some of the pins that they had were in positions where you couldn't go for them. So like say front, you couldn't, like it's not like you're going to be trying to land something just short of it. Like you had to go past it. So it was almost as safer to not get a ball in the water. But yeah, no one was taking that advice. This week we're at Bay Hill, so it's Arnold Palmer. So you boys have got your tips ready to go. I'm assuming Ross has not looked at it at all.
No, I have. I'm in.
Really?
I had to look up earlier on who I did tip because I did it a couple of days ago. So I'm done.
Who'd you go with it at Bay Hill? Arnold Palmer.
Fitzmagic.
The COVID kid.
Mm-hmm.
I've taken the other COVID kid. I've got Willie Z this week at Arnold Palmer.
Okay.
Rocket's figuring it out now.
Actually, I think I've got Matt Fitzpatrick too.
He's let Rocket down in.
No, I've got Tommy Fleetwood.
Oh. Really?
Yeah.
Tommy boy.
Mike's data lake probably would suggest otherwise. Is that right, Mike?
I'm scrolling down to find Tommy. Tommy won't be in the data lake because I'm pulling the PGA Tour data and he hasn't played enough events. He did play pretty well the other week though, didn't he? Yeah,
just like Ross hitting on the second tee. I go blind with my tips.
Genuine mistake.
Well, he finished 10th 2 weeks ago. No, sorry, he missed a cut. Did he?
But he played all right in Saudi, I think, didn't he?
I'm sure he played well not long ago. I'm sure he did.
Yeah, I was there. I should know. I probably don't, but I should.
So Tommy Fleetwood for Blakey. We've got Matt Fitzpatrick for me. Who have you got? Willie Z.
Willie Zalatoris.
Yep.
Jeez.
Rocket's deciding. Do you need more time, Rocket? Because we can ask Ross who he picked at Puerto Rico.
Actually, let's go Rory Mack.
Rory McIlroy, lock him in. And for Puerto Rico, so we got the dual events this week.
Oh, do we?
Rory Mack, previous winner. Is that right? Previous winner at Bay Hill.
Can't remember.
I think he does because he's got one of those red cardigans, doesn't he?
Yes.
Well, that's every third week for Rory. It's as almost guaranteed as Adam Scott's brown cardigan.
It's his smoking jacket.
He did. He has won it. He won it 2018, I think. Oh, that's what my thing says, but it could be a little bit wrong.
Fitzmagic
he was 10th 2 weeks ago.
Fitzmagic was runner-up last year or the year before. Was he not?
He's been in the top 10 a few times.
Data Lake says he has not played here. So,
What?
What's Will Zalatoris done lately that you'd pick him?
Yip putts.
Sitting it good.
he did. No. So, good question, Blakey. So, effectively, what I do is just a very short version is I normally pick 6 top stats that I want for the week and then pull that data in. So, this week I'm looking at ball striking, strokes gained approach, strokes gained off the tee, bogey avoidance because I don't want someone. It's going to need to be someone who's playing pretty tight. But the 2 key stats for this course, strokes gained approach from 200 yards to 25. So when you actually chart this golf course, there's a great website if anyone's remotely interested in any of this stuff called Data Golf. They chart the average amount of times players hit from a point X into a green. And on this course, from 200 to 225, they're hitting twice as many times than any other, or the average of any other course on tour for the year. So it's a pretty, and it's pivotal for this week. And the other ones, I'm looking at par 5s over 550 yards because the par 5s are all monsters. So when I get all that, percentage out which ones I weight the biggest of those stats, or what do I like the most at, which ones do I want to say the heaviest of those stats, and then rank the players all down. Willie comes up number 2. Number 1's Hideki, but Hideki I had picked already, so I can't have Hideki. So I picked Will Zalatoris. He's only been here once. It was last year, and he finished 10th. So that was it. Oh, and he's form in, because he had COVID as well. He finished 2nd at Farmers, 26 at Genesis, and then he had the week off last week.
Gotcha.
So there's a rhyme to the reason, but
any form on Puerto Rico.
We will find out.
Puerto Rico. I've picked someone. I picked Rafa Cabrera Bayo.
Rafa Cabrera Bayo. Yes, I'm not going to say his name.
Rafa Cabrera Bayo.
Yeah. RCB is what I normally call him because it makes it a lot easier. I do have his form.
I love looking at the field for the Puerto Rico. It's all the guys of yesteryear. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that guy in 2007.
Remember that guy?
No,
yeah, Hinsby does normally get a run here and there. Bads is playing, of course. Scott Gacheski, he's the sort of bloke you're talking about, that 20 years ago guy. RCB finished 10th in his last start here, but that was about 6 years ago, and he has not had a start in the last 5-6 weeks on the PGA Tour. So that's his number.
He'll be fresh.
That's it. He will be fresh. I'll help you out, Rocket, because you can take the bloke that I've changed off. I actually had Scott Brown, Palmetto's own, but I've switched just tonight to Kurt Kitayama, the man who was in the middle of the fairway waiting.
I had him down.
Yeah, well, he's only been here once. It was about 5 years ago. He finished 17th. He finished 3rd at the Honda, and he's played on that Euro Tour for a long time. So he's used to being able to just jump on planes, turn up in a new city, and go from there and hop around. So I just feel like he could be.
And his form for the last month or so hasn't been too bad either.
No, it's fine. The other ones that look all right. Homeless Hubbard, he's been playing good golf last week. Garriga, Slashley, Kelly Craft, Martin Trainer. They're just absolutely no one would know who any of those people are, but they all actually rate reasonably well.
Garriga hits it quite long, doesn't he?
I haven't got his stats on. I didn't bother pulling out the stats for this. I literally just pulled up how have they gone here historically and how have they gone in the last 6 weeks on tour.
Where's
I think I went with Sung Kang. Sorry, Roscoe.
No, I was just going to say, where's Smotherman playing?
Smotherman is playing here.
It's Puerto Rico. I thought so.
Yeah, he is my boy.
Smotherman.
Keep an eye on him. He can play golf. He's the one you want to watch, as well as Bryson's caddy's new man, Svensson. He'll win a tournament soon.
So the S's, Smotherman and Svensson. Sounds like a European lawyer's firm. But, okay. All right. Brockett, have you picked anyone for Puerto Rico? Why are they playing in Puerto Rico, and why have they got a double header?
Because one's a elevated status event, and they've just got this other one, which I don't. Again, remember what I talked about 20 minutes ago.
Yep, they basically just have the second one.
A.
So one's $12 million prize purse, and one's about $3 million prize purse being Puerto Rico.
Correct. Like it's 3-7 at Puerto Rico and 12 at Arnold Palmer. 12 is bananas. Absolutely bananas.
Well, I think the opposite field events used to get you basically I don't know about the Puerto Rico one, but some of the opposite field ones, they remove the Masters remove them as qualifiers.
Yeah.
But you still would get the 2-year exemption.
Yep. But the big one for everyone to start paying attention and doing their homework, I'll give you a week's notice. Next week's the players, and the players' prize pool's $20 million. Just in case you had nothing else to do, here's $20 million we're going to give away in prize money.
Is that the biggest in golf?
It is now, yeah.
One tournament?
Well, the Masters is 11.5. The PGA is 12. The Players is 20.
US Open, what's that, 15?
US Open's 12.5, and Open Championships 11.5. So it's literally, 75% more.
The fifth major.
Yeah, I was just going to say, is it too early to wind up the fifth major chat?
Actually, it's more like the fourth major. The PGA doesn't care.
Oh, there you go. Hello.
Don't tell Jason Day.
Speaking of giveaway things,
yes,
that's the biggest giveaway in prize money. Well, next week sees the culmination of the biggest giveaway in the history of the My Love of Golf podcast. That's what we're giving away. This Phil's old driver. We're giving it away because he's having a break from Callaway at the moment, so we're giving away his driver.
Does it have an automatic blocking system?
Well, it does because it's a right-hander, not a left-hander. So it's a replica. Put it this way, it's a replica of Phil's old driver. So thank you to everyone who has entered. Captain Caridi is keeping score of all of the entries.
Yep.
Thank you to Dan Maudsley, the golfing tattooist, who gets an extra entry for his donation, very generous donation to Lifeline.
He gets 3 extra entries, I decided.
3 extra entries for a donation to Lifeline, qualified by sending me the picture of the letter that Lifeline send you when they thank you for your donation. 131114. Lifeline do a great job of helping people in need. And Dan, thank you for your donation. Extra points this week, and a lot of people did come across to the YouTube to watch us. They listened to us, and then they put themselves through the glory or pain, whichever way they see it, of watching us. A lot of comments, and someone got some extra comments for telling us what driver it was. So yes, it's in a Callaway Epic, but there are 3 models. Some people have told us what they think the driver is. Some are right, some are wrong. Extra points on offer this week if you get this far and you watch what grip's on the driver. Tell us what grip it is. I'm holding it up now in the picture, so if you do tune across, you can see the grip. Tell us what grip it is, because it's not the standard grip.
Can you hold it up to the camera? Just that word that people want to get.
Well, something like it's like related to a farm animal.
They might have to look at the grip. You can.
Yeah, but I wouldn't know that. I mean, I play.
Well, you should. That's if you know your golf equipment, it's not your standard grip. There you go.
No, but I wouldn't know the company.
Farm animal related.
Yeah.
Cryptic crossword.
Is it?
People have to do the research. Don't give it away, Blakey.
Is it rubber? Is that what you're looking for? The answer is rubber grip.
No, that's not related to an animal. There could be a couple of things that might be related to an animal. Anyway, there you go. Tune in to the YouTube video, which I'll probably get out tomorrow at some point.
That's it. And I can tell you now, people were red hot. I can't remember who it was. I had a lot of messages telling me what it was, but I had one person who said, I've just gone to watch the video and it's only the the audio. It's not. I can't see the video. They were red hot.
They were all over.
They were on it the next day, and so then they went back and rewatched once it was released, and messaged me and said, "I can't quite tell you, but I think it's this. But I'm going to tell you this is the shaft type that's in there." So they were all over it. But we've got.
Blakey's taught me everything he knows about breaking the YouTube algorithm. You know,
that's it. Get the comments in.
800 subscribers to 14,000 in about 16 days. But thank you for the extra subscribers too. We're now cracked over mid 130s. So wow.
150s when I start giving away cheese prizes.
Cheese.
So
imagine what will happen if I put a few biscuits up.
Wow.
Yep.
Cheese, peak cheese week. You've ain't seen nothing like Christmas peak cheese week until we get to the 150 mark. There's going to be cheese.
We saw what happened with the biscuit wars in November.
Fromage.
And anyone who's entered last week, you can re-enter. The numbers are getting higher and higher, and I'm about 2 days delayed from loading up the spreadsheet to track everything and everybody's usernames. And some people have got different usernames on YouTube as they do on Instagram, as they do on Twitter. So, yeah. But they're starting to stack up, but there's still a solid chance to win if you do get involved.
If you are worried that we haven't got your entry under your different usernames properly categorized, enter again, put both names in, and then Magic Mike cannot get the admin wrong. That's why he's on the big bucks. He is admin manager of the tournaments and competitions. Blakey, you're the administration manager for tournaments and competitions in the real world. Good luck this weekend in Hua Hin in Thailand. Looks like a great course. It comes with it's one of those Thai resort courses, you know, residential property, hotel. You can live there if you want. There's probably a few Australian residents up there. So is it as good as it looks in the pictures that you've been posting?
Yeah, it's very much as exactly how you said. It's a resort course. I wouldn't call it a championship course, and the only reason I say that, I mean, it's a fantastic course, but it doesn't punish you everywhere. It's a resort style, so you can miss it in a fair few spots. The fairways are really hard and fast this week. The greens are super soft. There is a lot of water. I think 14 holes at least have water on them. But you can manage to get away from that. It's more for the look than anything else. Scores, I'm going to go with, Chan won with -23 and Royals last week. I would say that this course will be something similar. At the moment, the greens are running around 10.5, we're really hoping they get up to 11 tomorrow at least. It's not going to be that windy, so we could get them up to 11.5 possibly. There is a couple of pin positions that we can have even with 12. So
hey, if they're playing on the East course, and there's that hole, I'm looking at it right now, where it's got like some volcanic rock outcrops a little bit to the left. Can you get the pin front left a little bit closer to those rock outcrops? Because I want to see some balls zinging off that thing.
Can't. There's only 27 holes at this course, so I'm assuming, because it's like 18 holes at the site is there, and then you've got 9 just past the cannabis farm. So I can't think. Is that 16?
I don't know what hole it is. All I'm doing is I'm actually on the site, and I've clicked on East, and it looks like this hole looks like it could be like a par 4 that sort of goes over a plateau down to like a bit of a kidney, not so much a kidney-shaped green, almost like a peanut-shaped green. And to the left of the green is like these 2 monster rocks. Boulders, we'll call them. They're not rocks, they're boulders.
Yeah, I think that's either 12 or 16, I believe.
Front left pin, please. 4 days.
I mean, they're only flicking in a wedge, so they're gonna be missing that pretty easily.
Back left, so they've got to try and hit it over it. Maybe cut the fairway in a little bit.
All the par 5s will be gettable in 2, so we'll probably have some weights around those holes. The par 3s are all around maximum 6 iron, but more like 7 and 9 iron.
More importantly, Blakey, who's on the range striping it? I'm looking at the odds. I want to know. I want some inside gossip. I know I'm assuming you're not allowed to give me a tip, but you could tell me who's hitting it, okay?
I would, mate. I would give you tips if I had any clue, but
you could actually. I'd be more impressed just to hear you reel off some of those names.
Exactly. Spot on. No chance there. Ross knows that I'm a bit of a, tongue twister when it comes to even Ross Flanagan. So, sort of struggle with that kind of thing. I've never been a linguistic expert, but I'd say this. All I can say is my prediction would be round -20, round -21. So, someone who's good with a wedge, good with the flat stick, and they'll get it done.
Say good day to Wade Ormsby when you catch up with him out there. Hopefully, not a rule infractions scenario or imbroglio. That's one of David's favourite words from the GolfRules Questions podcast, imbroglio. So say good day to Wade.
I did see it. I saw him yesterday. He said hello. So we had a chat. I love Wade. He's a great guy. Really friendly guy. So it's good.
Scott Hend. Say good day to Scott Hend. Never met him.
Not as friendly, but
no.
A nice enough bloke.
Any other Aussies up there? Any other?
We've got Will Heffernan, Travis Smythe.
Yep. Ben Eccles is up there, I think.
Benny.
Andrew Dote.
Andrew Dot, yep.
Andrew Dote, and a couple of Kiwis as well. Daniel Jeremiah, and no, that's not how you spell his last name.
Jeremiah,
and Ben Campbell. Is that right? Because he's got his cousin or niece or whatever. She was April. She was pretty good at netball back in the day for the Silver Ferns.
There's actually lots of Aussies and lots of Aussies and Kiwis. I don't know Kevin one Aussie.
No, I don't know him either.
Corey Crawford, Ben Eccles, Scott
Corey
Strange.
Crawford. He was a Queensland State team player. He's first off tomorrow morning. Actually, I forgot to tell everyone. I'm actually in my hotel room now, not hanging out with these two lovely ladies. Ewoks, I was calling them. But I'm actually day 5 PCR test isolation. So it's quite funny. I arrived on Saturday, which was the 26th. Had to get my day 1 PCR test, test and go thing. So I had to go to the hotel and isolate until the results came through, which was the next day, about 12 hours or something like that, 13 hours. But then you're allowed to go out for day 2, 3, and 4, and even half of, the morning of day 5. And then I had to come back to the hotel, wearing a mask, obviously, but hanging out with everyone, and had to get my day 5 PCR test. So I got that, and now I have to isolate in the hotel until I get my result. And I'm hoping, I know everyone else will be catching the 5 o'clock bus from my team, but I won't be able to catch the bus until I get my PCR negative result. So, I might be hanging out in the pool until 11 in the morning, but hopefully I can get that PCR test around 6 in the morning, get on the 6:30, 7 o'clock bus and get out to the course.
Interesting way of handling it. So PCR out into the open and then come back and do another PCR.
I'll tell you another thing. Sorry, Roscoe. They changed it as of yesterday. So as of March 1, you only had to do the day 1 PCR test. They've got rid of the day 5. So if I'd actually turned up yesterday, I would have only had to do the day 1 isolation. And I would have probably spent.
Have they got New South Wales government running it?
They've.
Blakey, stand up and show us your T-shirt. We talked about your podcast. If you do want to listen to some comedy gold, some of our best, go back and listen to the early episodes of the GolfRules Questions podcast. The reason why Blakey called himself out as a non-linguist is the first ever episode, we got a listener write in and just pick apart everything, every word that we got grammatically incorrect, every sentence, every full stop that was in the wrong place. In true rules fashion, Blakey had a massive follower, her called Iva, and we subsequently named an award for each other called the Ivors. When Blakey got a word wrong, he was anointed an Ivor. And I think at the last time I was on the podcast, Blakey was like 757 Ivors to 3. So yeah, we used to have a lot of fun with Blakey's and mine's linguistic mistakes.
Especially with Rafa Cabrera Bello.
This I tell you what, this fella wrote every European-based European Tour player's name with a phonetics. He wrote the spelling out and then put the phonetic way to say it after it. It said Rafa Cabrera Bello, and he spelt it out phonetically. Such was his desire to help us along our way.
Wow.
It was great. So cool. we subsequently named it the Ivors.
It's quite good. I've got one of the team members here who's from the Philippines, and obviously the Philippines has a lot of Spanish names. So when I said his last name, I was like, Arabello. And he's like, no, my name's Arabello. I was like, yeah, but it's Spanish. He's like, no, it's Filipino. I was like, that's the country that I live in. they say the Spanish names the American way. It works a lot better.
Yeah, we just got to put an O on the end of everything.
Like he's got a T-shirt on which you can buy on his website. It's the Heelan Coup, the GolfRules Coup and the GolfRules Roo. So Blakey's the Roo and I'm the Coup. You can buy those over at Blakey's website.
Thank you, Roscoe. And I actually, this sounds like the promote Blakey's stuff. I actually just started a golf club too, the Wombat Hills Golf Club. It's a social club where you can get a handicap for $149. So if you're feeling like you want to get a handicap, shout out.
Do you cover Queensland? Does it do Queensland handicaps?
It even covers Tasmania.
Okay. Well, there you go, Rocket. You can get a Wombat Gully Wombat. What is it?
Wombat Hills Golf Club.
Wombat Hills Golf Club. Where are you going to have a course, or it's just a social club?
No, just a social handicap. You can hand in conforming social scores. That means you have to play by the rules of golf.
Oh, Patrick Reed can't apply then. I was thinking it was like Patrick Reed was a spirit animal being named after a wombat that burrows into everything. If it's like conforming scorecards, he's been ruled out. He's definitely not your spirit animal for that club, is he?
I thought you were meaning he's more rotund than.
I'm just going to have to warn everyone, and as much as I admire and congratulate you on your spirit of growing the game by giving people another opportunity to get a handicap and be able to play in competitions if they're not a member of a proper golf club, that's great. It does come with a word of warning. If you get down to the sort of Blakey's level, and you might know him personally, and you get one of your handicaps, be warned that he is going to. He is going to monitor your handicap on a daily basis, and when he gets like 0.1 below you, you're going to get bombarded with your shit, golfer messages for a month, and he's going to remind you every time you do or don't submit a card, because he'll follow you on Instagram and he'll watch when you're playing golf, and you'll go, "Oh, how was golf today? Did you submit a card?" So just beware. If you are on Blakey's team, he is going to ghost your handicap for you and remind you when you're a shit golfer.
Absolutely love that.
That is not true. What is true, Ross, is that you and I, in my mind, were having a competition as to who could get their handicap the lowest by 31 December 2021. And me not playing and you playing a couple of times meant that your handicap went out and mine didn't. So I won.
Oh, well. How many drivers did you win last year?
One, actually.
Yeah, one that was bequeathed to you by me from the one that
That's
I won.
Exactly right. Because
drive.
we both know, Ross, that if I was in the same tournament, I would have won the longest drive. AKA, let's talk about our last time we went to, down on the peninsula.
What? You caught one off the top of the face and got me by 5 yards. Big deal. Anyway, hey, does anyone know anything about Kenya?
Magical Kenya?
I
know. It's the Magical Kenya Open. That's all I know.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a few playing over there. Rocket's mate, who can't putt, is there. Detry. No, it's a pretty lean field. It's the first tournament back on the Euro Tour, or the DP World Tour, I should say. Dean Burmester, Ardiano, Adrian Maronk, Justin Harding, Thomas Detry, Johannes Vim, and Marcus Armitage. They're the headlining acts for the week. But no, don't know anything other than that. I know they had a couple of weeks off with some cancelled tournaments, and this is the first one back.
Top Scott, we're going with I'm going with young Howie from Peebles Golf Club. I'm going to go with Howie as the Top Scott. There you go. We've been a while since we've had a Top Scott.
Going to write a letter to Scott Jameson because I'll be very disappointed you didn't take him.
Well, hopefully Scott Jameson did his job on the football park tonight against Perth Glory. I should have been there, but anyway, we're here.
I'd love to go and referee in Kenya. That would be awesome.
Oh, there's your pitch. Blakey, it was available for your RNA European Tour, DP World Tour. Is that it?
That's it.
Rocket. Oh, last thing. The band is going to be put together.
That's it.
Yes.
Countdown is on.
It's like the Spice Girls and Posh Spice has agreed to appear in the one-off concert.
4
Rocket
weeks
is returning to his home country of Tasmania.
I'm Mel B. I'm not Posh Spice.
Okay. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you're Scary Spice, definitely.
Rocket.
Scary up the tea.
Who are you, Mike? Rocket is returning to his homeland of Tasmania for a once-off 2-day guest appearance at the Barnbougle Dunes. Tickets on sale via the website if you want to get on board to come and watch Rocket play. The band will be back together. It'll be the Mile of Golf on tour, the first ever time on tour playing together. Me, you, and the marketing manager, Nick from Hot Glue.
Doc Smith.
Doc Smith. So, can't wait.
Can't wait. 4 weeks today. This time in 4 weeks, we'll be hopefully... Well, we'll definitely be drunk. It's 10 past 11. But
3 of us will be.
Yeah, well, Ross can drive. But Ross will have taken some amazing photos of Boogle Run, and we'll all just be easing into the night before the 7 a.m. tea time at, I think it's Lost Farm on day one. No, it's June's.
I don't care either way. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, it's going to be fine.
Can't wait to see the Rocket Man down there. Gents,
Roscoe.
Yep.
Now, there is no 0% alcohol beer in Thailand, but there definitely was 0% alcohol beer in Saudi, and I'd highly recommend you get around it. I'm on it, love it. You get the taste, you don't get the buzz, you don't get the headache the next morning. You might not be much of a beer drinker, but I'm jumping on board. I love it.
Yeah, no. In fairness, Mike shouted me one last time we were at Barnbougle a year ago.
Barnbougle, yeah. We had a couple. They were nice. I thought you said they were all right.
Yeah, I thought it tasted all right. It was like the first taste of beer I'd had since I'd turned 40, so it was almost 10 years. I still sort of don't see the point. For me, like alcohol, I just gave it up. And anyway, boring. But
it's like calling almond milk.
Well, I just don't. I'd rather just have a Coke Zero and get that. But anyway, whatever. But thanks, Blakey. I appreciate your feedback on the alcohol-free beer. There's probably a few good ones out.
Do you know why it's called Coke Zero?
Here we go.
Because there's zero reason why you would buy it. It's terrible. It's just garbage. It is garbage. There's more chemicals than that than a Dow plant.
Well, I should retract any reference to brands. Sugar-free beverage. Or maybe I'll just stick to water.
Now, if TaylorMade made one, I'd shill it.
Oh, dear. Thanks, gents. Blakey, good luck this weekend up there in Thailand. Good luck with furthering your nest of future golf tournaments and paying to do the work that you love, which you do very well, providing a great service through the GolfRules questions, but also to the Asian Tour ambassador. Officially anoint you after today's induction. Even despite a few little inappropriate references at the start, you are now anointed as Asian Tour ambassador for the My Love of Golf team. Do you accept?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm still an independent contractor, but thank you.
Yeah. Okay. But well, you're not.
Do we need to bring him down to Barnbougle? So Slugger Blake.
Slugger Blake. You're not a contractor here unless you're getting paid, and you ain't getting paid. So there you go.
I'd be if I would go to Barnbougle, I'd be Baby Spice.
Mike, thank you. When I get the memory card back, all of your secret work in the project that you've been working on, the Skunk Works My Love of Golf project, will be revealed. Everyone, until next time, thanks for joining us for an hour and 20 minutes worth of 4 grown men behaving averagely. Until next week, we'll see you then. Thanks for listening.
Thanks.